our daily Bible reading for January 16th. Our reading today comes from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 8. We'll be reading verses 14 through the end of the chapter. And when Jesus entered Peter's house, he saw his mother-in-law lying sick with a fever. He touched her hand, and the fever left her, and she rose and began to serve him. That evening they brought to him many who were oppressed by demons, and he cast out the spirits with a word and healed all who were sick. This was to fulfill what was spoken by the prophet Isaiah. He took our illnesses and bore our diseases. Now when Jesus saw a crowd around him, he gave orders to go over to the other side. And a scribe came up and said to him, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go." And Jesus said to him, "Foxes have holes, and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head." Another of his disciples said to him, "Lord, let me first go and bury my father." And Jesus said to him, "Follow me, and leave the dead to bury their own dead." And when he got into the boat, his disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great storm on the sea, so that the boat was being swamped by the waves, but he was asleep. And they went and woke him, saying, "Save us, Lord, we are perishing." And he said to them, "Why are you afraid, O you of little faith?" Then he rose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. And the men marveled, saying, "What sort of man is this, that even winds and sea obey him?" And when he came to the other side, to the country of the Gadarenes, 2 demon-possessed men met him, coming out of the tombs, so fierce that no one could pass that way. And behold, they cried out, "What have you to do with us, O Son of God? Have you come here to torment us before the time?" Now a herd of many pigs was feeding at some distance from them. And the demons begged him, saying, "If you cast us out, send us away into the herd of the pigs." And he said to them, "Go." So they came out and went into the pigs. And behold, the whole herd rushed down the steep bank into the sea and were drowned in the waters. The herdsmen fled, and going into the city they told everyone, especially what had happened to the demon-possessed men. And behold, all the city came out to meet Jesus. And when they saw him, they begged him to leave their region. A few thoughts for today. Sometimes we scratch our heads at why we can't change bad habits. By now, at this time in January, many have already scrapped their New Year's resolutions. Not because they weren't attainable, but because old habits die hard. Maybe we didn't understand what it was we were changing or what we were up against. If we were battling the unknowns of lifestyle changes, we truly were up against some of the hardest obstacles. Here in Gadarenes, or Gerasenes in some versions it calls it, Jesus is up against several obstacles. Perhaps the easiest was the demons who possessed the man who roamed the tombs. For in this enemy, it was plain to see who or what needed to be changed. In a stunning turn of events, though, we find that rather than being welcomed with open arms, Jesus was asked to leave. The one thing Jesus would not change was people's minds. Whether it was the fear of such a power as that which Jesus possessed, or the fact that when the swine rushed into the sea to their death and thus it affected their economy, is unclear. But nonetheless, we make a choice. They make a choice of eternal proportions when they entreat him to leave. In Mark's gospel, we find that this man who had been healed desires to go with Jesus. In a surprising move, Jesus' reply shows the compassion he feels for the people of the region, even though they had rejected him. We are told, and he did not let him go, but he said to him, "Go home to your people and report to them what great things the Lord has done for you, and how he had mercy on you." Mark 5:19. Perhaps they will see the change in this man's life and be persuaded that it is not as threatening as they once thought. Sometimes we find that healing the body is easier than changing habits of thought. Question of the day: Have you ever tried to convince someone that what you have to offer them would affect their quality of life for the better, only to be rejected? And a thought to meditate on today. Give some thought to the question of the day and how you may be skeptical of something new in your life. And those are our thoughts for today, January 16th.